everybody,
What's
and
going on?
welcome back to Sports
Boom.
Floss Gloss.
Keep it glossy, never flossy.
That's right. That's right. So we're gonna
Yep.
dive right into it today, and we got my girl Kim here, who spent some time playing in the softball circuit.
Yeah, I like it. The circuit. I did. I worked the circuit.
You worked
That's
the
for sure.
circuit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as we all know, we've seen the news about like these big paydays coming along in Major League Baseball. So, money, money, money. Congratulations to all of you guys out there who's getting that money. So let's hit it
Thank you.
off. Talk about Garrett Cole and why this is such a big deal.
Yeah, it's a crazy deal, a phenomenal deal, because not only does it give the Yankees, so that's who signed with, not only does it give them a piece to the puzzle that they were missing from last season, so potentially they have a great outlook as far as what we're looking at forecasting towards next season. And so we'll see what they're able to do with these pieces. But our boy Garrett Cole signed for a whopping $324 million. I mean, that is so crazy. It is the highest. Yeah, it is. It is the highest contract for a pitcher. And it really shows what the Yankees feel like he's worth. I think for anyone who follows sports somewhat closely, I mean, baseball players get paid, and it's a good sport. Not that any other sports are not good, but you talk about longevity in a career. Yeah. NFL, you're not getting paid that kind of money. But then the other thing is with the battling you're doing with the contact and things that you're doing day in, day out, you have a much shorter career. So the money that you're making, it's really important that you invest and do things smartly with that money, because you're not getting $324 million, and your career is also going to be dependent on the position that you play. I mean, some quarterbacks you see stay around longer, but if you're at a skill position, wide receiver, running back, I mean, your career is much shorter because you get hit all the time. So this speaks volumes about what they think he's worth. I'm excited to see how and what they're willing to pay, the money that they have to even hand out. Not to mention the other players that were not free agents that they still have on the roster. But the thing that's interesting about it, because the other thing, and I'll throw this in there too, another change that we saw that I think is a pretty big deal, is that Anthony Rendon, who just won a world championship with the Nationals, is now going to the West Coast, going over to the Angels. And I would say best available skill position. He's a third baseman, and he was the best available that they had. So the Angels similarly are trying to ramp up their roster. They don't have the pieces that the Yankees have, so I don't think it's going to play out in the same way that the Yankees should play out. But the thing that's interesting about baseball that's different from our other kind of major sports, NBA, NFL, is that one player doesn't necessarily change the game, right? Because with baseball, you can't control who has the ball when the game is on the line. You can't control who the batter is going to hit it to, and maybe you pay all this money for Anthony Rendon, but they don't hit it to third base. They hit it to right field, and I mean, there's nothing you can do. Whereas football, basketball, you can put it in the hands of the person that you want to have the ball. So it'll be interesting to see if this payday does actually play out and what it means for the Yankees next season. But Garrett Cole, if you happen to slide by this, if you need someone to help manage your money, or if you're just looking to donate to someone in need, let me tell you, I'm in need. So if you feel like you just want to slice a piece of the pie, I think I can figure out what to do.
And it's that time of the year, test write-off season. You need to give your quick donations.
You do. Sharing is caring.
It's
better to give than to receive. And I would love to receive your gift. So
and one thing about the Angels trading for Anthony Rendon, and I think they're trying to prove a point to Mike Trout, right? They're trying to say, we're going to invest in this team. We told you that we're going to do this. So I think that was like a bit like just to show him, even though they already locked him up for life and gave him buku money. Because he deserves it, of course. I mean, without him, they wouldn't have anything. But I guess they were just trying to show that they're actually taking those steps to doing it. So they want to keep him happy. So I think that
Yeah, and I think that's what I think you're right. I think they're trying to build a legitimate team that can be in contention for not only postseason play, but eventually a World Series. I think they have more work to do to get there. I think they definitely are going to have to spend some more money and get some more players around, but they're taking the steps. We'll see how it unfolds, but
yeah.
Congratulations to everyone getting paid.
Right. Yeah. And you know, that movie Angels in the Outfield, call up the angels in the outfield to help y'all out. Angels.
There we go. Fantastic movie. Fantastic movie.
Right.
So good. Maybe when I go home. Yeah, there we go. Here they come. See, there's one with you right now. There you go. Oh, yeah, exactly. Exactly. My parents still have 2 VCRs at my house at home. Yeah. And so all those movies, Angels in the Outfield on VHS. So I feel like maybe it's Christmas time. Angels are always among us, but especially at Christmas time, you feel, you know, the extra love and the spirit. So I need to go and watch that movie when I go home for Christmas for sure.
Yeah.
I like that reference.
It's a very good feel-good movie. So if you haven't seen it, that's a little throwback for y'all. Angels in the Outfield.
Yep.
Is that a Disney movie?
Go get it. I think maybe technically yes.
So it might be on Disney Plus.
It might be. Oh yeah, Disney Plus. That's where it's at. Got me hooked. But anyway, I'll try my best not to get us too far off topic, and I'll keep going because I'm really bad at that. I'll keep going with Major League Baseball. And the other thing, and it looks like there have been no appeals to this, so it looks like this is something that's going to happen, is what decision or rule change that the MLB has made is to try and speed up the game. As we all know, baseball games are long, and generally speaking, me personally, I enjoy them more in person than on TV, but I can still watch a baseball game. I still enjoy watching a baseball game, but it's a lot more fun if you're at the ballpark. And so they're long games, so they're trying to figure out how to speed it up. And what they've done is implemented a new rule that basically says you can't do this back and forth kind of cat and mouse game between a pitcher and a batter. So to have this, let's say you have a certain batter that's coming up and you know that they have certain weaknesses in their batting style and their batting game. But let me pull this particular pitcher to pitch to them because maybe they can get this out. But then the next batter comes up, and what do? We pull a different pitcher from the bullpen to come out. So they're saying that that's something that's attributing to slowing down the game. But it seems that that's not really much of an issue, in my opinion. So what they're saying is if you make a pitching change, they come from the bullpen, they have to finish the inning. So if it's at the start of the inning, they have to do all 3 outs. Then the start of the next inning, you can change it out. If there's 1 out, they have to get the next 2, whatever the case may be. But there can't be this cat and mouse back and forth of trying to say, well, let me outsmart your batter with my pitcher. And so they're taking that away. But what I think they need to do is to follow their brothers and sisters and have a time clock for the pitch, not pitch count, but to in between pitches. I was listening to, I believe it was Golick and Wingo this morning, and they pulled out a lot of good numbers. And in general, I had always felt like, players, the pitchers are taking the time and they're getting so set. And I understand that for being able to throw the pitches you need to throw. But they basically said that the average of a baseball game has changed over the last 4 or 5 years by 15 minutes. So it used to be 2 hours and 50 minutes. Now it's a 3 hour and 5 minute game. And if you look at how much time the pitchers are taking in between pitches and you do the math and divide it out, it equals to the 15-minute change, essentially. So they didn't, they obviously are saying that's not the one thing. There are other things that can be done to speed up the game, but it seems like, as we know, football, the quarterback play calls, you have a time clock that you have to go by. In basketball, you have your shot clock. And even in sports like tennis, you have a service clock now.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so you can't sit back there and catch your breath and just dribble, bounce the ball for 20, 30 seconds. You got to go.
Looking at you, Rafa.
And so, yeah, we're looking at you, Rafa, for sure. So it's something that I think would help to speed it up some. And it really would make the pitchers to just be more intentional about what they're doing.
Right.
I think anybody in any sport, any of the people making the decisions of when to start the play could make the argument that a pitcher might make that, I need this time to set myself and prepare myself and, blah, 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 whatever. Anybody could say that. So I think it's important that it follows suit, because it has with other things, right? I mean,
yeah.
In baseball, you have replays now, and that's something that you used to not have. You can challenge calls, and they can go and look at a monitor the way you can in football and in basketball. So if we're gonna do these similar things, let's do it all the way around. Let's get a time clock back there, and let's speed it up.
Right. And the goal is you want to get outside people who are not necessarily like invested or know so much about baseball to watch baseball. But so I know that's the thing too, their market share has continued to decline over the years. So I think anything they can do to try to rectify that would be better for their bottom line if they want to keep these players happy with these $200 million contracts.
It's about to say, absolutely, especially when you're paying that much money. Just a little update here. I am watching the thrilling matchup between the Ravens and the Jets.
Oh, because Thursday night football is always thrilling.
So they do a great job of matching up the teams, so it's always really exciting.
Right.
So what I will say is that they just scored again, they being the Ravens, naturally. But Justin Tucker did miss a field goal. So excuse me, not a field goal, a point after the touchdown.
What? That's even worse.
Yeah, I know, but that's the most exciting thing that's happened is 13-0. The most exciting thing is that he missed a point after. So.
All right. Well.
Yeah.
We'll keep monitoring that game because it's so riveting.
Yeah, don't you worry. So much so that I position myself here so that I can check in on it because I know everybody's really
making
really
the ultimate sacrifice for us. All right.
Yep, I do what I can. Me and Tommy, he came.
I see Tommy. I know he moves around very well.
He does.
He's very mobile.
There's always room for Tommy.
So moving on to our to other athletes who NFL players are jealous of because of their big paydays. The NBA, I've been in every off season of every other sport, except for hockey. NFL players are like, man, really? So the NBA. Quick word on Zion watch. Surprise, he's not gonna play until next year. Meaning 2020, not like next season.
Yeah.
So we kind of figured that was going to be the case.
Yep.
So
and so Zion watch, not anything to watch, unfortunately. But again, I'll go back to what I've said all along. I appreciate that they're taking their time with him. I'm excited to see him play and to see what it looks like and to see what, if any, types of growing pains. What he's going to do when he starts back. But you have to be careful with him. Yeah,
and they put out there, I saw in one of their press releases that they put out the dreaded 2 words, load management. That's a big deal this season. So they will be using load management for Zion too when he does come back. So that does not I don't think Zion is going to participate in the dunk contest this year. It doesn't make any sense. But so that's going to be one thing that I know everybody was looking forward to. It would have been awesome. Hopefully there's next year.
Yeah, that's true.
But in some other news that the NBA that we saw, it was on the Undefeated. Covered this story about the Kings and the Bucks participating in basketball games in prison systems in their respective states, and then they're going to do some collaborative work. And I think this is right along with the NBA's credo, like their whole theme moving towards social activism and justice. And I think it's just perfectly, I think it's a great opportunity. And I think it also is a good opportunity to shed light on people who most people forget about, look down on, or don't expect much from. So I'm really excited about this, and so this is a pilot between the Kings and the Bucks, I guess, from what I read, and then they're going to expand it. And I think this is like awesome. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think so too. I think it's a very cool thing. And in fact, the name of this initiative is the Play for Justice Initiative. And I read the article also, and what it says is that they will allow even like clothing and things for the incarcerated members, individuals to wear. Their families can come and enjoy the games with them.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of takes, or hopefully what it aims to do is take the stigma away from people who are incarcerated, because while there are some people who are incarcerated who are extremely dangerous, have no remorse, and definitely are there for a reason, not to say that the others are not, but there are a lot of people who are looking to reform, looking to change, and looking to better themselves and grow while they're in there. And that means that they're humans. They've made mistakes. They are paying for their mistakes. And we've all made mistakes, maybe not to the degree of the mistakes they've made. And maybe we did some things and we didn't necessarily get caught for them. And we could have very well found ourselves in similar positions or situations. But it humanizes them. And it's sad that I have to use that word, because they're humans and they're people. But unfortunately, that's not the way that they're looked. That's not the way that they are treated. So doing something like this, to take something that is so important in the lives of us as people outside of prison, just sports, and how it brings people together and can unite people and get that kind of competitive energy against one another and things like that. I think it's awesome that they're doing this. And I think it's great they're letting their families come and watch with them, just all sorts of things to say it's okay to reform and to get better. And it's okay to have something that they can look forward to. Yes, you're serving a sentence and you're being punished, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that it has to be dungeon style. No positivity, just nothing, no hope, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Just nothing to be excited about. So I think it's a pretty cool thing that they're doing, and I'm interested to see how this goes. I'll be interested to see what the response is from others as well, because I don't know how it works as far as, and I didn't see that the article touched on this, or maybe it's something that I overlooked. So you have to let me know if you saw this or heard anything as far as any kind of televised activity or what they're going to do in that regard. And I think maybe they can't do that, because then you're making a profit off of these people who are obviously not going to make any money off of it. But it'll just be interesting to see what grows out of it, right? So you go and you have the games and you do these things, and I think I read too that they're actually going to facilitate conversations between the incarcerated and the NBA players and things like that. Kind of what is what comes beyond after the game is over will be interesting to see how they kind of do that.
Yeah, and I think what makes this such a great opportunity is that when you look at the parallels between NBA players and those who are incarcerated, they pretty much live parallel lives. And it all goes down to like a path, and sometimes it goes to so just given the fact that in this country, little boys of color, the things that they aspire to is, one, be an athlete, be a rapper, or whatever else they see in rap videos or in the streets. So you only have, and so a lot of the players who are in the NBA, and once again, just like in NFL, we have almost 90%, probably 9% of above who are Black or brown bodies. And those Black and brown bodies, a lot of them came from those same neighborhoods that a lot of those people who are incarcerated came from. They have friends and family who went down that road, and the only thing that kept them from going down that road because they had sports and they were really good at it. So just to show that this could have been maybe somebody's life who's right now making millions of dollars in the NBA, just based off like social and economic circumstances that are putting people's lives before they are even born. So I think that's another cool thing about this, is that it's showing that, so you idolize these people here on the court, but they have brothers and sisters, they have friends and family, they have could have been them.
Absolutely.
And you know, if the world was if an alternate universe. So I just think it's a good chance, like you said, to humanize people, to show that just because they are incarcerated doesn't mean that they shouldn't get a second chance in life, that they should be thrown away. and that they don't matter. So this is, I think it's a great opportunity, just like you said, to humanize those who are incarcerated. So, and maybe they can build some more programs like educational, help them get their, business degrees, maybe
actual reform, right? And not just the punishments. I think that's the one. There are a lot of places I believe that the prison system could be reformed, but especially in that regard. I mean, the recidivism rate is what it is because you have a record, you get out, you oftentimes haven't advanced anything, you haven't learned any particular skills, and of course you have a record, so people are a little concerned, hesitant to hire you. Well, you need money to survive and you need food to eat, so what do? You turn back to your old ways. And eventually for most people, they end up tied back up in the system and going back, because when you have the record, now the punishments get more severe because you already have strikes against you. I like that point that you make, that maybe it brings more awareness and there's something that can come of this where there's actual money put towards improving the status of the individuals who are there so that they can then become members of society that can contribute and that can do great work and do great things. And again, that we aren't just judging them because of a decision that they made. Because like you said, I mean, you look at some of the biggest, and the one that instantly comes to mind is LeBron James.
He talks about it all the time.
He does. And so much about his story and how he grew up, and look at the pedestal and how he's idolized and the skills that he has. He very easily could be on the other side of this. And no one would care less, right? No one would know his name. They wouldn't care about him. They wouldn't think about him. So you make a very good point about those parallels. I hope that something even more positive can come out of it other than just the conversation. That would be great, I think.
Yeah. So kudos to the NBA for starting on this journey. And one more. So keeping it moving. How about college basketball, man?
Well, it's been there's not a ton to say other than what we've been saying, that the field is wide open. Number one, Louisville goes down by double digits to Texas Tech. Unranked. There we go. Another one bites the dust. Exactly. And it's one of those things, who wants to be number one? It seems like nobody, because every time they get it, they lose it. It's tough being number one this year, or really number 4, number 5. It's tough being ranked this year is really what it boils down to. There have been a historic rate of top ranked teams in the top 10 being upset by teams that are unranked. They've already had more upsets this year than they had the entire season last season. So just kind of goes to show you that the talent is not as strong consistently as it was last year. And who knows who's going to be holding up the trophy when the first weekend of April gets here, because it doesn't look like anybody wants it. What do you know?
Update.
What do you know?
What happened?
The Jets have scored a touchdown.
Whoa.
It is 6-13. And I believe that is a Dookie, Jamison Crowder, catching that.
Go Jamison.
Yeah, I believe that's who it is. Yep, that's him. There we go.
Right. Fight.
One of our classmates.
Fight.
There we go. One of our classmates.
Yeah. Good for him.
Yeah, I know. He's had a good career.
He has. He started with the Redskins, so
he did, and he's
from
doing
one good situation to another one.
Yes, but he's playing well, and he's been consistent enough that they're still signing him up and paying him. I also saw. I'm slightly getting us off track, but I saw because I had forgotten that he moved from the Steelers. I saw Ross Cockrell.
Ross Cockrell.
Panthers.
That was one of my. I gave him water on a daily basis. And
there we go, keeping him hydrated.
Yes, and
I think you should take a little credit for this. Then he wasn't hydrated back then,
and I kind of told all of them who I worked with, I should get some kind of shout out or something.
I hear you.
I feel like I played a big part because if I wasn't on my game, you had cramps at a big moment. Might not have been feeling your best. But I knew what each player wanted, how much ice, who needed the extra Gatorade packets. So that, because there was some extra, like, just in case, people cramp up, it was some extra little package you could put in the Gatorade, shake it up, they needed. I had it ready for them because I knew it was going to happen. I was an A1 trainer. But anyway, college basketball.
There we go. Oh, absolutely. I would expect nothing less.
Right.
Expect nothing less from you.
So another thing about, so the gap is getting closer and closer with this talent, right, in college basketball. And I think it's only going to get even tighter because I'm predicting that this one and done rule is going to go away soon. I know it's coming on the table again once the new bargain comes around. So I don't think it's gonna I think we're gonna get more Zions. We're gonna have less Zions, we're gonna have less RJs, we're gonna have less Wisemans. What's his first name? James Wiseman. We're gonna have less of these type of players coming to college basketball, and they're gonna go straight to it depends on what they're gonna do. So so I think it's going to be, this is probably going to be the state of college basketball for like a while. And then with more people opting to maybe go overseas and play, or to play in the G League, or just to take a year off and work and be an intern at what's the dude who's signed with LeBron's agency, who took a year off. He's an intern. Making money.
Call his name.
Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah. I know you're talking about. I can't call his name. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if and when they get rid of that rule and what it's like to watch college basketball. I mean, it'll throw you back to, 10 years ago, I guess, and actually having to work hard to build programs, because you're going to need someone who can lead a team. To lead a team when they're staying there and work through it and get better together. So it'll be very, very interesting to see what happens when you start saying, okay, if you want to go, you can go. You don't have to come here for the gap year, if you will.
Right, gap year.
Requiring you to come here for, and what it's going to look like. And to your point, it'll be interesting to see how many of those types of players decide on their own to either still do something else before jumping right into the NBA, if any of them. I mean, I know obviously the payment thing, we'll see how all these things come together, right? Because if there's a way for players to get some sort of financial support for using their likeness or whatever the case may be, then maybe they have a little incentive to let their game develop a little bit and to go to college for a year and figure some things out. But if they don't have that, then, passing up on the payday seems
not smart.
Like something we won't we won't see a lot of, but we'll see how all these things kind of work together.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
So college football, we are at the finish, heading to the finish line of college football. Yep. Final rankings. Well, first things first. So history has been made this year. First time ever, Bama has not been in the college
Roll Tide
playoffs. So I mean, this just says a lot for them and like their program, and like that they've been so consistent that in every single college football playoff until this point, they've made it and won 2 of them. So that's pretty. I mean, and you can't make it every time. So I'm sorry,
exactly.
But that is not real life. This doesn't work like that.
Yeah, sometimes
it's not a Hallmark movie.
Where you can always predict the outcome. But I will say I can understand the thought that you should, because I think we would say that we expect Duke to win every year. Now, we can be realistic, but we don't expect to lose game. I mean, we are used to being a winning program. So when you start losing, at the end of the season, I'm picking Duke every year, even when it's not the best team, just because it's, Duke usually finds a way to win. So, for no other reason. So I can understand that Bama thinks that they should be there as a fan that's like diehard, but you're right. They do, but you're down there dealing with the people. And I also have seen plenty of times where Duke did not win or did not perform. So
yeah,
while I don't like it, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand that it's not going to happen. So,
right.
But yeah, it says a lot about Alabama. Great program, and we talked about a bit about this last season or last episode. Excuse me. That I don't think this means anything as far as the state of Alabama football. I mean, they're still going to get recruits. They still got Saban. They're going to be fine.
Yeah. All right. So to the lucky four who made it in. Well, I should say lucky. They worked hard to get there. Some of them harder than others. So we
tell us how you really feel.
So we have coming in at number 4. We have Oklahoma sliding in into the 4th spot. They did what they had to do to get there. Once Utah went down, we knew what was going to happen. We knew that slot was going to go to either Baylor or to Oklahoma. And Oklahoma
took care of it.
Yeah, so
yeah, they did. It was a fun game to watch.
Right. Congratulations to every Black mama's favorite college football player, Jalen Hurts. He has made it to the college football playoffs all 4 years of his college career. Now that's saying something. That's a resume. That says a lot about him.
Oh yeah, and especially doing it at different programs.
Yeah. Right. And then number 3, representing ACC, is got Clemson.
With a P, Clemson.
Clemson.
How true Southerners say it. Clemson. Yeah, we don't say Clemson. It's Clemson. It's
Clemson. Yeah.
Clemson.
And they beat the brakes off Virginia.
Yeah, it wasn't even. Yeah.
That was quite.
I feel like that just. It was, and I feel like it's kind of like that. It seems like it happens that way more times than not, because it really just goes to show the gap. I mean, ACC isn't known for being a football program, so or football conference rather. And there were times where Miami obviously was better, Florida State was better.
Right. They made it to the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, but if you're thinking football and you're thinking conferences, you're almost always immediately you're at the SEC. I mean, first thing out, and the ACC, Big Ten, and the ACC somewhere as you trickle down now, ahead of the Pac-12, obviously.
Right.
But still, it's not going to be the first or second thing that comes to mind. So I feel like more times than not, especially here in the recent years, as Clemson has further established themselves, it just shows the gap between Clemson and the rest of the field.
Yeah.
They completely demoralized UVA, and honestly, UVA could have just stayed home.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
it may have been closer.
And their fans could have stayed home. I mean, I guess they just really wanted to go to Charlotte.
I guess it's a nice city. Nice city. Well, there was something here that just happened. So, I mean, the volume's not on, so I can't see it exactly. It looked like there was a touchdown because I saw that it said 19-7 that the Ravens had scored. But the refs must have overruled it. Harbaugh is over there cussing. That's all I can see. Let me see. I'm going to watch it here. Let's see. They're on like the 2-yard line. I think it must be a penalty by somebody. And Jackson fakes the handoff. He's rolling. He passes to one of the tight ends. I can't tell who, but I think there's some sort of penalty on one of the linemen. So in any event, they're trying again.
Okay, dust yourself off. Try again.
Dust yourself off.
In the words of Aaliyah, yes. All right, and then so number 2, Ohio State.
Ohio State. Come on.
I refuse to say that. I'm going to keep refusing to say that. Okay. So Ohio State, they dropped. So, all the Buckeyes are up in arms because they dropped from number 1 to number 2. What do you expect when you went to halftime down to Wisconsin 21-7? Was it something like that? 21-3, something like that. And
21-3. Yep.
Yeah, so what do you expect? And then the way that LSU came out and
dismantled,
like, like, come on, Jordan. Yeah. I expected a little bit more.
I did, and I was like kind of excited for the game, and I actually one of my friends' husbands she had a birthday party for him, and that's what it was surrounding. It was surrounding football. So it started at like 4, and then went until the last games were over. And I remember us just sitting there like, this is kind of a downer. Like, I'm upset. I at least wanted it to be competitive. I thought LSU was going to win anyway, but
you guys missed the only competitive game of the day, and that was Baylor.
Yeah, I watched that. Yeah,
that was
on your own.
Yeah, that was before
the party. Yeah, so I watched that one before the
Mm-hmm.
party. I watched that one at my house. I did see that. And you're right. That one was the exciting one. That one's the most fun to watch. The rest of them,
were
duds.
Yeah, I was kind of keeping an eye on the games, and then well, I guess the Ohio State Wisconsin game, like I was like, oh, go Wisconsin, I see. You're gonna pull an upset. And then it was like, of course not. So I was keeping an eye on like those games.
Yeah, right. And then never scored again.
Right. Yeah. They pulled the I'm about to say they pulled the Atlanta Falcons.
Oh.
Yeah.
Falcons.
Yeah. All right. So I think the rankings that they put, I think they made sense. I think they got it right 1 through 4. I think it makes sense to put LSU at the top slot at the end. That just based on the final performance, because that's what you're looking at. It's a championship game. Mm-hmm. How are you performing in a championship game? And that says a lot. We're trying to send you to a championship. So how you perform in championship situations, I think, should play a part in their final ranking. So I mean, poo to you, Ohio State. You should have picked another time to be down 21-3 and make a comeback.
Poo to you. Poo to you. Yeah, I think it's hard to go against that. I understand that it's not a loss. I understand they were at number 1 and then slid to number 2. But if you just look at the performances and you look at what happened last Saturday and you judge that, I mean, Ohio State came out flat and came out like they didn't realize what was on the line and came out like they didn't want to win the game. Now, I understand you make adjustments and people get fired up at halftime and you realize, okay, look, Wisconsin's here to play. Mm-hmm. We can't walk all over them. We're going to actually have to start competing if we want to win this game. But at the same time, it kind of is what it is, and the facts are what the facts are, and the situation is what the situation is. So I think they got it right as well. I think the rankings are appropriate, and LSU, I mean, pretty much all season, but in the games that mattered. So as we started to dwindle down the season and get closer to these final rankings, they elevated themselves, I thought, from the playing field. They took it to another level. Right. So when you do that, this is what happens, and you deserve the number 1 ranking, and that's what you get.
Yeah.
So
and
congrats to them.
I think Clemson is going to beat Ohio State.
Oh, okay.
Calling my shot.
Calling it now?
Yep.
Okay. Trying to think if I agree. Clemson with the P.
Clemson.
Well, you know what? I'm just gonna, for no other reason than it makes it fun when you disagree. I probably shouldn't disagree with you because you're already ahead in our picks. Yeah. But it's no fun if we pick the same team and there's no way for me to ever have a chance to even it up if I always pick with you. So I'm going to say that Ohio State is going to take it. I really like the quarterback. I really like their defense, which didn't show up in the first half of that game. But I am hopeful and confident that they will come out and realize that they don't have time for the games that they were playing on Saturday, and they'll come out and they'll play well. And Clemson won't be able to run over them the way that they ran over Virginia for obvious reasons. Of course not. Yeah, for obvious reasons. And I don't think it'll be, so we'll see what happens.
Yes, we'll see. Go Dabo.
Go Dabo.
All right. So going to the big boys, NFL, is there an update on the game tonight? What's going on? Did Ravens score?
They ended up scoring. They were on the 2-yard line, and then they just got a 2-point conversion. So if my math is correct, they just went to a commercial. I think it was 21-7. Because they would have made up for the point after that they missed. And it's 3 touchdowns. So it's 21-7 now. I'm going to guess that it's the second quarter, but I don't know how much time. And, we'll just keep you updated. I will say the fact that the Jets have scored a touchdown on them in the first half is pretty impressive considering.
Yeah.
So, you know, and it's been played in Baltimore, so they don't have anything to be ashamed of because they don't really have
right. And
a
you
lot of
never know with the
pieces.
Jets. I mean,
They might surprise you.
they might surprise you. But
We'll,
I mean, but once again,
yeah.
but the Ravens are not the Cowboys, so there's that.
Oh, dang. Cowboy Nation.
All right. So we'll leave that trolling to Stephen A for the moment.
Oh my goodness. He is so funny with his trolling other Cowboy every single time. Like he devotes so much energy to doing it. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
So. All right. So since Lamar is playing right now, let's talk about this situation with him and his recent injury. He being a running quarterback, injuries like this are going. Any injury really is going to be expected. I mean, once you get outside the quarterback pocket, you are no longer a quarterback. You are fair game.
Yep.
They are out there to kill you. I mean, like you're supposed to get, well, I know there's some things going around too now about Lamar not getting as many calls even when he's in the pocket. So once again, wherever else you want to go with the how the refs look at running quarterbacks, and I guess black men who are running quarterbacks, i.e. Cam Newton, like they don't throw the flag as many times. When it's someone like that in the pocket. So even besides that, but just, getting yourself outside the pocket and running and being and then transferring from a quarterback to a running back, you are putting yourself out there to get injured. You are putting yourself out there destroying your career a la RG3. And so, I mean, it's gonna happen eventually, and hopefully he gets a championship before it happens. If this is the way the team is structured around him doing that, so they have to get as much as they can from it now, as soon as possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's a risk that every play it's a risk that he's taking, right? Because the quarterback position traditionally was designed to kind of control the offense and also, I mean, you make the passes and you make the reads and you're the one handing off the ball, but it was designed to be, I'm passing the ball to other people.
Pretty much the coach on the field.
Exactly. And I'm protected by these big guys, my linemen, they keep me safe. This is a wall. I get rid of the ball and you can't hit me. And especially with all the rule changes now, when you're in that pocket, I mean, you can't touch them basically, or it's a flag and it's a personal foul and you can go ahead and move it. Unnecessary roughness 15 yards down the field. So with all of that, what you do is you take all of those parameters away. Your linemen are only doing as much as they can do and are only going to be as mobile as they can be. You're going to be quicker than them and getting out around them. So you're leaving that wall of protection. And then, of course, now you're exposed, like you said, to all of these other people who are on the field. So you're exposed to the cornerbacks who are now coming after you. You're exposed to all of these D-backs and everyone who's coming and just trying to take you out of the play. So every play he's taking a risk, and I hope that we don't see something crazy and see some terrible injury. But it just, you hold your breath a little bit, I feel like, every time he takes off, just because you don't want it to end badly for him.
And sometimes it's not that one play that makes it. It's like accumulation of injuries, like Cam. Like it was just a accumulation of hits and injuries that just piled on top of each other. And now he is where he is. He hasn't played this season. So it's so sometimes it doesn't just happen all of a sudden, like with the RG3. Sometimes it just happens over time, and it just shortens your football career, like exponentially compared to other quarterbacks. So hopefully we'll see like what's the outcome of his career and like where he can take this, because I really think he is like so dynamic. And like he's just an athlete, man. Like he's one of those people who can play anything you put him in
and would be good at it
and be good at it, because he's that good. He could probably be a gymnast and all this type of stuff, because like he could just do anything if he put his mind.
And if he works at it, I mean, you can tell he's put a lot of time into what he does and his game, and to And the nice thing about him too is that he's very humble. He doesn't talk about himself. So before the game, I saw they did. There was an interview that had been done, I guess, a day or two earlier, whenever, or earlier today. I don't know exactly when, but anyway, they intentionally brought along Mark Ingram so someone would be there to hype him up, because he's just so soft spoken. He doesn't talk about himself a lot. He doesn't talk about what he does, even though people ask the questions and try to get him to somewhat not really gloat, but just to give himself some credit for the great things that he's doing, and he just doesn't. So they brought Mark Ingram along to be his hype man, basically, and that's what he did. I mean, hyping up his quarterback. So I think it's also nice to see someone who's doing the things that he's doing, and to be humble and just get to work and lets his game speak for what he's got going on.
So yes, all good energy towards Lamar. Best wishes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So so speaking of NFL players putting their bodies out there on the line every day, so this big story came out, breaking news, about retired NFL players who were committing fraud against the NFL's healthcare system, or healthcare pension, to get more money, basically. So I think this goes back, I mean, this all ties together about, one, how the pay that the NFL give their players, two, like the value they put on them compared to what the NBA, MLB put on their players, and who don't have as much duress, as much stress on their bodies, on their minds, so this is a dangerous sport. And then, so they don't get as much money, don't get as much guaranteed money. And then legend Jim Brown, just this past week, came out talking about how low and how just morally, he said morally low the NFL's pension is compared to leagues, and then compared to, once again, what the NFL players endure throughout their career. And so I'm not surprised to see these retired players trying to get ahead of the system. Like, they need this money, man, for whatever things they need to take care of health-wise. Because I think it was a CNN article, they were trying to imply that the players who were committing the fraud were doing it so that they can give the extra money to the players who needed it, who didn't have it to cover their medical expenses.
Right. And
so I think, come on, NFL, you got to do better. You should be putting your players in a position where they have to commit fraud, like this. They commit fraud to pay for their healthcare needs after they're done playing, after they're done making you money, after they're done making you a $1 billion sport, or you are the richest sport in the world. I mean, so come on, you got to get some work done, some reform all the way around with how much you value your players.
Yeah, and I think it kind of cuts both ways. So I see that side of it, and I'm in agreement with most of it. But at the same time, a lot of times obviously I'm not an elite athlete. I am in my head, but nobody's paying me to do anything. I enjoy playing sports and whatnot, but no one's paying me to do anything. And I always kind of put myself in a position of, I'm out here and I grind as hard as I grind, and I do things that I need to do. And I mean, I make money for every time that I've worked somewhere, right? You make money for your job, and you do different things to help benefit your job. And there's some times where you get healthcare bills. I mean, I have a physical therapy bill from, 2 years ago that I'm still paying on. And it's like, well, it's ridiculous. So I think really the thing that I pull out about it is it kind of transcends just the sport. To your point, yes, they made millions and billions of dollars for these programs. And so they very well shouldn't have to even let their minds go to, oh, should I commit fraud and say that I need these healthcare expenses when I don't, because I'm trying to help other people, or because I'm just actually trying to funnel some money into my pocket. And maybe it's because I didn't manage the money that I had very well, right? So I'm sure you have some of that going on as well. But it seems like a situation where it goes beyond just the sport, because I think a lot of citizens in this country would say a similar thing, that they work for companies, they work for organizations, they work hard, and they help to make money for those organizations, and they're not taken care of as when it comes to healthcare. So I think, not to get into healthcare reform and all of that, because that's like heavy stuff, but I think it goes beyond the sport, in my opinion.
Yes, it does. It is. Because there are people out there who definitely do that, and who are, I guess, lay people in terms of
lay
football.
People. Thank you. I'm a lay person.
Lay athletes. Me too, if that's the case. I'm
a lay athlete.
A lay athlete, or non-athlete altogether. So.
Look, all are welcome here, lay and non. I will like to say, I've been telling people this. We had a Christmas party at work earlier this week, and for the entertainment, we had axe throwing as our entertainment.
What?
Yes. And so I've never done any axe throwing before, and so there was the instructor who brought everything and was giving you tips on what to do and showing you how to throw. So I had started throwing, and I wasn't doing a very good job. I was hitting the wood panel, but it wasn't sticking, like it wouldn't be the blade of the hatchet. And so after like a few throws, she looked at me and she goes, are you an athlete? Like, did you play sports? And I was like, why, yes, I did. And she was like, yeah, I can tell. And then she goes, look, this is me amping myself up, but this is what she said. She's like, I can tell, you need to throw it this way and try this. And after we made those changes, after she realized that I was a former elite athlete, I added the elite part.
Okay, yeah.
She did not say the elite.
Okay.
I started every time striking wood, and then eventually got the bullseye. Now I stopped after that, so who knows what'll happen the next time. I didn't want to jinx myself, and I wanted to go out on a high note. But I'll tell that story because it was a lot of fun. Anytime someone calls out, "Are you an athlete?" I'm like, "Why, yes, I am."
I'm a dancer. Okay.
Yeah, right. Did someone call for an athlete? Did someone call for a doctor? That's pretty much what it is. Did you say athlete?
All right. So beyond that, so we also had NFL Spygate 2.0.
Yes, we did.
So the Patriots still the Patriot.
Just can't. They don't let us down. Out of trouble. Can't stay out of trouble with those cameras and recording devices. And
once again, we already knew y'all were cheaters. You ain't got to keep showing us. We knew it.
Oh man, dang. No, didn't you hear Belichick? He said that whatever that guy was doing with the camera, that didn't come from them. That was a higher up type media type people. Okay. That was not the internal, i.e. him instructing a person to go over and keep the camera on the sideline for an entire quarter to pick up signals or anything like that. And he knew nothing about it. So I don't know what you're talking about, Sonny.
Well, it sounds like the same old bull they pulled years ago when they were, what's up with the Patriots? Well, again, caught, that is, because I'm pretty sure they're not just videotaping the Bengals and the Jets. So,
and that's the other thing. If you're gonna record somebody, record the Ravens.
I'm pretty sure they do. But
it didn't work.
Got caught doing it yet.
I guess so. I don't know. Record the 49ers. Right now, it just seems like you're only recording these horrible teams. Like, that's a waste of getting caught. If you're gonna get caught, I need you to get caught recording a legitimate contender, right? Because you're right. Don't send anybody. I guess that's my point. You're right. They probably do. But don't send anybody to the Jets game. Don't send anybody to the Bengals game. Why are you sending someone to the Bengals?
Because they really need to win. They really need to win this game.
I guess so. The Bengals are not good. And if you've relinquished Tom Brady, and although he doesn't have a great receiving core, but the limited receiving core that he has, almost down to essentially, we need to look at what you have going on. That's a problem. Big update. Okay. And by big, not so much. 4th and 1, New York Jets going for it. They were on, 4-yard line, something in that regard. And they made a pass. Robbie Anderson got his hands on it, but he dropped it. So,
well, yes. Hey, at least they're trying.
They are. They're doing better than some other teams have done against the Ravens, and they're in the red zone. I mean,
hey, you got to take your shot because it really doesn't matter to them. I mean,
no, they're not playing.
Right? They're just trying to spoil the Ravens like homecoming for that. So, because I think if they win this game, I think the Ravens clinch like first place in the AFC, right?
I think so too. Yep. Maybe they're just trying to spoil that for them. You're right. And the other thing too is knowing what's coming on the offensive side of the ball. If you're 4th and 1 and you're in the red zone, I mean, you have to go.
You gotta take your shot. Yeah.
Yeah. Whether they're driving the entire field or you take your shot. It's the Ravens. I mean, and you're right. They're not in contention for anything. They have nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose.
And you know the Ravens are going to come back out and they're going to push the ball. So you got to take it. They took it, unfortunately, for the – I mean, I guess it's not really that unfortunate. I don't care personally, but it makes it entertaining at least if they keep it close.
If it's a close game, like, ooh, what's going on? You know.
Yeah, they have a shot. Keep it close until the end. You have a chance. So we'll see. Okay, back to our regularly scheduled programming.
All right, so Patriots, once again, cheaters. Okay, so moving on. Just had to get that out there. So women's tennis has some news. Kim?
Yeah. So Caroline Wozniacki has announced her retirement after the Australian Open, which will be at the beginning of next year. My initial reaction was kind of like, oh, is this a big deal or is it not? And I think what happens is that in the time that you and I have been alive, I mean, obviously there were a lot of greats when we were younger. But since we've probably gotten to the early college level, a lot of those people have fallen off. And who's been consistent? Serena Williams is still playing. I'll mention that Venus is still playing and still competing, and she has her moments where she plays very, very well. She's had some other struggles and things health-wise that she's had to deal with, but she's still competing and she still is hungry to win. But it's crazy because it really, to me, just shows the gap between Serena Williams and the rest of the field. And when I say that, what I mean is that Caroline Wozniacki has only won, I say only, it's still very impressive because it's hard to do, but has won one Grand Slam title, and it was at the Australian Open a few years ago or a couple years ago. I think maybe the year that Serena was out, right after she had her baby. So she's won that one Grand Slam title, and she otherwise has not won any others. I think she's been in some finals. And then her ranking for being number one in the world, she's a previous number one, comes in second to consecutive weeks of active members or active players on tour to Serena Williams. And so it's crazy to think because she's only won the one Grand Slam title, but technically, I mean, she's for sure accomplished a lot, but it's just mind blowing to me because Serena is competing to win her 24th. And here you have someone who has only won one, who's announcing a retirement, who's younger than Serena is. Serena is 38, so she's knocking on the door of 40 years old.
But you look good, girl.
Yes, she looks great. She is in great shape, and she's still doing other things that are important to her, aside from, of course, the most important thing now, being a mother and raising her daughter. But she has all these other things that she's involved in, and that's the reason that Wozniacki submitted for her retirement, that she has other things she wants to do and focus on. And again, you have a woman who's doing these other things and has been doing these other things, and is still hasn't broken that level to get to number 24, but is in finals consistently and competing for a Grand Slam consistently. So I don't know. It just is eye-opening to what she has done to devote to her craft, taking care of her body, taking care of what she needs to continue to rise and elevate her game. So it's super impressive that this woman is retiring and she's second in the rankings, but yet I bet she's not a household name for most people. I imagine if you're not a tennis fan, you probably don't know who she is. Right. Everyone knows who Serena Williams is.
So the gist of this story is Serena is the GOAT.
She is the GOAT.
Bad mother. Shut your mouth.
Shut your mouth. A fly mama jamma is what Serena Williams is.
Right. She all of it.
And more. Yeah, she's in that conversation of,
Yes.
I mean, you think about what people say about LeBron right now, similar thing, right? As far as his career is concerned, you think that generally on average things would be over or slowing down, and he's not missing much of a step. I mean, you might say he's slightly, I mean, the slowest little as far as explosiveness, but he's still yamming on people. He's still doing incredible things, and it's the same way with her. So it's very cool to see this longevity. I'll be sad when
Girl,
she
we have to get to
retire.
We have to get to a match, a tournament before that happens.
Yeah, we need to talk about it.
She is not going to retire until she's 24.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know what? I think 25, because 24 ties her. I think she's going to try to do 25.
Yes, I feel you. Yes, we got to do it, Kim.
Individually. And I think she can, and so it's funny you say this, because I'm actually trying to work towards going to the U.S. Open next year. So
I want to go coordinate so bad.
And talk about it, because I'm trying to see her similarly like you. I'm trying to see her before she calls it quits. And I know unless there's some sort of injury, she's not going to retire this year.
Right.
That's just not happening.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and her coach put out there that she is looking stronger than ever. So.
Yeah, there's really all you can do is get better, right? With more time, more reps, more practice. I mean, there's nowhere for her. Again, injuries aside, and knock on wood and prayers up for her that she doesn't get injured. But those things aside, there's nowhere for her to go. She's proven that, in my opinion, that the age isn't necessarily taken away. I think the newer, younger players are getting better. I don't think that's anything against her.
I think she's still above the island, even the ones who beat her.
Yeah, she is. It's just with her, it's straight nerves. That's all it is.
It's straight mental.
Yeah, it's the mental, because she is head and shoulders talent wise above the people that she's playing, but then she gets to the final one and just can't close it out, and for whatever reason. It's the pressure. I mean, I say all the time.
Yeah,
I say all the time when I'm watching professional athletes, or just college athletes, even when the game is on the line, I think, like, if I was in that moment, my heart would be exploding, and it's like, would I be able to? My heart is exploding
on my couch looking at.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not doing a thing. I have no control over the outcome, and I want it so badly for her. But I have the nerves, and I think about, what would I be doing? How would I be able to get myself in check if I was somebody on a free throw line, even in college, to seal a game, and everybody's like booing at me or whatever they're doing. Some people cheering, and I got to knock it down. Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. So I mean,
unless you like Kobe, a cold killer, you gotta have that ice.
Ice here, like Tyus Stones Jones. Tyus Stones.
Yes.
That kid had ice in his veins, legit.
He saved us from a lot of close games.
He did. Please.
The championship. I mean,
Don't even get me started. Wisconsin.
Okay, let's not Wisconsin. Yes, let's not go down memory lane. And let's focus on what we have now. All right,
we're ready. Laser. I'm right here.
Yes, I think we're good.
Okay.
All right. So that was it. That was all of our topics for today.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, do you want to preview what we're going to be doing and some things we're going to be doing coming up with our Fast Fives?
Yeah. So we're going to debut a new segment that's going to be separate from our longer show during the week called Fast Five. So be on the lookout for that. We're going to give you some quick things that we see in the sports world that week, and just to keep you informed in 5 minutes or less about some Fast Fives. So
there we go.
Be on the lookout. We would definitely let all of our fans know when that's coming. We think you guys are going to enjoy it, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be funny, and things that you can easily share.
Yeah, absolutely. And one last update before we wrap this up. So the Ravens were unable to do anything with that long field. They punted away, and now the Jets are knocking on the door of the red zone.
Okay.
There are 29 seconds. Yeah, they are on the 25-yard line in Ravens territory. and there's 29 seconds left. So they're running their 2-minute drill. So we'll see.
Yeah, so at least they should get a field goal. At
least, unless they try again on 4th down and are unsuccessful.
Take the field goal.
Oh, never mind. Interception. We forgot that turnovers are a thing. Interception.
Right, so and not every quarterback is an MVP candidate.
Not every. What a way to end the segment. I thought there was going to be a highlight, but sorry, folks. I know you all were on the edge of your seats. It's INT by Sam Darnold. I mean, pretty much right to, his tight end hadn't even turned around. His back was to him. He threw
some kind of miscommunication. So somebody was wrong. Either he was wrong or somebody was wrong.
Yep, he threw it right to the Baltimore player. So maybe he forgot which team he was playing for. He wanted to play for the winning team.
Maybe he got excited.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, yeah, we're about to go to the playoff.
Yeah. But anyway, all right, cool. Well, that wraps us up, right? We're good?
Yeah, that's right. See y'all on the flip side.
All righty. Next time.